Hello and welcome to my March reading wrap up. Oh my gosh, that was a loud clap. I read so many good books this month, and I read a surprising amount of spooky books this month, which I did not expect because you know me, normally I just read straight romance. So it was a little bit of a different reading month for me, but honestly a great one. I just finished 14 Ways to Die. This book is about a serial killer named the Magpie Man who has killed 13 victims so far, and he has never been caught. Jess, whose mother was actually the first victim of the Magpie Man, she is determined to catch him, so she decides to go on this kind of internet reality show to bring awareness to the killer and the fact that he's never been caught and try and find clues. It is a YA murder mystery and I really liked it. I thought the concept of a lot of the book taking place in this kind of internet reality show was really interesting and something that I've never read about in general, but especially in a murder mystery high school setting. So it's interesting that we're not just following a high school girl trying to catch this killer, but the whole world is watching her and sending her tips and weighing in on their thoughts on who the killer could be. And also how all of this media attention affects the actual serial killer and kind of like what he's gonna do next. I've read a few other YA murder mystery books like A Good Girl's Guide to Murder and One of Us is Lying, and I will say those two had a bit more like shocking endings, which I feel like is really crucial to a murder mystery. But I still thought the reveal of who the killer is at the end was really satisfying. Overall, I would give this book like 3.8 stars. My only complaint with this book is that the book has really short chapters, which is something that makes it a very like easy, quick read because all the scenes move really fast because no scene/chapter is more than like 2 or 3 pages. But sometimes I felt like things moved a little too fast and certain moments or characters were a bit underdeveloped because we didn't spend a lot of time in those moments and there wasn't room for a lot of description in those moments. But still a win for me, would still recommend. But before we move on to the next book I read, I want to tell you guys about an audiobook I just started listening to and today's sponsor, which is Padmate. Padmate is a company with a focus on audio and electronic products, and they just sent me their Bluetooth noise canceling earbuds. These earbuds are bone conduction technology, and they're also waterproof. On top of that, they have an 8-hour battery life, their Bluetooth connection, like I mentioned, and they fit really securely in my ears. And I just started listening to the audiobook If the Shoe Fits by Julie Murphy with these earbuds. This book is a romance that takes place on a reality show, and so that's how I've been using my earbuds. But these are also great for running, cycling, hiking, literally any kind of workout or any everyday use. And I have a 20% off discount code for you guys. You can use my code ALI20 or the direct link in my description to get that 20% off of your Padmate earbuds. All right, let's move on to the next book. I just finished reading Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. By the way, if you ever see a little strip on the side of my books, that's because they're library books. People ask me about that a lot. So yeah, this is a library book. Anyway, I really liked this book. This was a 5-star read for me. I've felt kind of mixed feelings about Taylor Jenkins Reid's other books, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six. I really liked both of those. I gave both of those 4 stars, but I just didn't feel like I super bonded with the characters. So I was expecting to have a similar feeling about Malibu Rising, but I'm really happy that I loved this book so much to give it 5 stars. It is about a group of siblings. They love to surf, they live in Malibu. One of them is a famous model, and their father is a really, really famous musician, but he's a deadbeat dad to them. It goes back and forth between the past when they're growing up dealing with their dad and with their mom to present day when one of the siblings, Nina, is throwing this huge banger party, and all of the different siblings have different secrets that slowly come out during the party, and the different partygoers also have their own secrets and stories that come out and unfold as well. And I just loved the characters. There's a lot of characters which I actually really liked. I thought that they were all really relatable despite being wealthy and famous. They had a lot of very human struggles, which I know they're human just like all of us. And it was such a good mix of drama with the secrets and with the hardships that they've been through, but also just really fun, crazy moments with this crazy out of control party. So definitely my favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid book that I've read so far. And now I feel like I've read all her popular ones. Like I don't know that I've heard of any other Taylor Jenkins Reid books outside of 7 Husbands, Daisy Jones, and this one. So I need to research what my next read should be by her. But yeah, big hit for me. I just finished Good Girl, Bad Blood literally like 30 seconds ago. and it was crazy. Holly Jackson did such a good job in this book. Well, first of all, let me back up a second. If you don't know what Good Girl Bad Blood is, it is the sequel to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and there's one more book in the series which I'm definitely going to be reading very soon. The series is a YA murder mystery. In the first book, there's an old case of a missing girl in her town, and Pip decides she's going to try and solve the case for a school project. And in the second book, we have an entirely new mystery, but it's the same characters, the same world, the same town, and there's a clue in the first book that plays into this book, which I didn't see coming. That was super interesting. Overall, freaking love this book. I mean, the first one was also so good. I feel like this book was way more intense than the first book, which I didn't expect. I feel like it moved a lot faster, and I also always love the sequel in a series sometimes more than the first one, because I feel like by the time you're at the sequel or a third or fourth book, you already know and love the characters so much more, so it's so much easier to like really get into the book. Overall, 5 stars. I gave the first book in the series 4.5 stars, so this one pushed the series to a 5-star series for me. I also love that the series, despite being such like crazy mysteries, also feels so realistic. It deals with high school parties and drugs and drug dealers, but also just normal, chill high school kids. So we get to see so many aspects of high school life and so many different kinds of high schoolers that I think is very realistic to a real high school. Definitely look up the trigger warnings for this book and for the whole series, because it also tackles some more serious topics. And I thought the reveal on the mystery at the end of this book was really crazy. I didn't see it coming, and it all just fit in so perfectly. And the series has a great romance subplot, so a little dash of romance is always nice. Anyway, please, please, please read this series if you like YA or murder mysteries or romance. Hopefully you like at least one of those genres, and let's go on to the next book. Hello, I just finished Normal People by Sally Rooney, and wow, this book was not what I expected at all. I really thought this was gonna be like a cute, adorable romance, and it is not that. The driving plot of this book definitely is romance. That is what carries the plot along, but I honestly would say it's more of a coming of age story, more slice of life than it is a romance. What's really cool is we follow the 2 main characters throughout a decent chunk of their life. We first meet them in high school, and then they go through college, and then a bit of their post-grad life. And I think those are some of the most formative years of humans. And so it's really cool to see them deal with relationships, falling in love, breakups, fitting in, feeling awkward, mental health, tough relationships with family, and so many other topics that a lot of them were really relatable to me, and I bet are very relatable to a lot of people. I would give this book 4 stars. I would really recommend this book, especially if you can relate to a lot of the topics that I mentioned, and if you are in your late teens or a young adult. I also loved that it's a very realistic romance story. Life is messy and not perfect, and relationships are also messy and imperfect. And that is so true for this book. Probably the most realistic romance story I've ever read. And it is also a show on Hulu. I've seen the first episode so far, and I really liked it. The first episode so far is so accurate to the book, and I know that can be kind of rare when books get made into movies or TV shows, so I really appreciate that. And I'll definitely update my thoughts probably on my Instagram as I continue to watch the Hulu series. All right, on to the next book. Hello, I just read The Wicked Deep and Verity. Hang on, let me put you guys down. Okay, much better. So like I just said, I read The Wicked Deep by Shea Earnshaw and Verity by Colleen Hoover. I read both of these in my swapping my screen time with my reading time, so if you want to see kind of like a reading vlog of my thoughts as I actually read these books, then you can check out that video. I really, really liked both of these. I'm going to talk about The Wicked Deep first. This book is YA. It's kind of fantastical and magical, and it's about this town called Sparrow, where 200 years ago, 3 sisters who were thought to be witches were killed, and they have haunted this town ever since. And so there's this mystery of like, how can the town stop the curse and the haunting of the sisters? And the book follows this main character named Penny, who is a high schooler and has always lived in this town. And then one day she meets this guy named Beau, who's this outsider. It's kind of mysterious and random that he would just pop up in this small town. And there's a little bit of romantic tension there. So we've got a romance subplot to like the mystery and fantastical element of this story. I love the world building of this town. It has so much rich history, and we get to explore the whole plot of the sisters in the past and how they came to be thought of as witches. There is also a huge plot twist that I did not see coming later in the book. I didn't think this was going to be the kind of book that would have a plot twist. So the plot twist was surprising, and the fact that there was a plot twist at all was also surprising. There's kind of this morally gray character, which I thought was really interesting. I love books that have morally gray characters and kind of question, you know, if these people were real, how would you feel about them in real life? Are they a good person? Are they a bad person? I don't know. I ended up giving this book 4.5 stars, super good. And also look at this cover, it's like so cool. It's silver metallic-y, and in the sunlight it looks like kind of rainbowy. I don't know, it's really, really cool. But yeah, if you love YA, if you love fantasy, if you love a bit of a romance subplot, then you would absolutely love this book. Then we've got Verity by Miss Colleen Hoover, and what the heck, this book is absolutely crazy. Like B-A-N-A-N-A-S, bananas. This book is bananas. I gave this book a giant big fat 5 stars. I was obsessed with this book while reading it. I could not put it down. It hooked me from the very beginning, and constantly it was just like bam, 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 what is going on? And I've read so many incredible gripping books, but I feel like there's very few books where I'm so hooked just from like page 1. Just to give you a little taste of how you're hooked from the literal first sentence, let me read you the first sentence. I hear the crack of his skull before the splattering of blood reaches me. Yes, that set the tone for this book, and it's crazy. Let me talk about what it's about. So this book is about Verity, who's a really big popular writer, and Lowen, who is not a very popular writer. And something happens to Verity to where she can no longer continue writing this very popular series that she's in the middle of. So her team asked Lowen to step in and finish the series. And so Lowen ends up moving into Verity's house. This book is a thriller through and through. It's so creepy and eerie, and so many surprising things keep happening, and it makes you question what is real and what is not real. And to say this book is full of plot twists is an understatement. It's just like surprising thing after surprising thing after surprising thing. And I've had some mixed feelings about different Colleen Hoover books, but I have no faults with this book. I absolutely loved it. And I don't know that I've read a thriller in a while, especially a thriller romance. I feel like that's a very unique combo. And that is all the books that I read in March. Please leave me any book recommendations that you have for April. Also, make sure to follow me on TikTok. I don't really talk about my TikTok very much, but I've started making a ton of book content. So if you like my YouTube channel, you'd probably also love my TikTok. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week with my next video. Bye!
Let's get scratching.